So to most people, the overhand shuffle just looks like a casual way to mix cards. But here's what most beginners don't know, is that you can use the same shuffle to mark the exact location in the deck and then cut back to it without anybody suspecting anything. And it all comes down to two different moves, two different secret moves, and it's called the injog and the undercut. So these two moves will let you track that card or that stack and then move it wherever you want while appearing that the shuffle is done fairly. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that overhand shuffle, injog, and an undercut to gain total control over that deck. And if you've been following my card magic journey, you're ready to move to this next level. So let me show you exactly, what it looks like to the onlooker. That's basically what the technique looks like. Just a simple shuffle. It looks like a regular overhand shuffle with a complete cut of the deck here. And what we're going to do is we're going to break it down here and show you guys exactly how to do it. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a solid overhand shuffle. So you need to make sure you get this part down first. Okay. You also need to learn how to run cards or strip the cards. That's the next thing that you need to learn how to do. And then after you learn how to do that, you're going to learn the basic undercut. So how do you undercut some cards to throw them on top, which is a complete cut of the deck, and then also learn how to square the cards. So that's the tools that you need to do in order to do this whole overhand shuffle, injog, undercut, and control the deck. So let's start from the beginning here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to flip the top card over here, so we have the 8 of spades here. When I start my overhand shuffle, all I'm going to do is I'm going to run one card. But if you notice how the card is run now, it's sticking off the back of the deck here. And you can see that. And I have it sticking off probably about 3/4 of an inch right now. But as you get better, it's going to be in closer. And all you can do is just run the rest of your cards on top. And you could do it so it's messy like this, because what happens is that messiness kind of hides that injogged or that jogged card. And all we're going to do is undercut and throw the cards back on top. So we have that 8 of spades back on top again. So all we're doing is we're starting our shuffle here. We'll come in, run one card so it's off the back of the card. Continue your overhand shuffle so it's on top. And I want you to get in the habit now of keeping that injog card there so it's kind of clear a little bit on top and on bottom. And then in the next video that we show, you'll see exactly why you want to keep that top clear also. But now we have our injog card. I'm going to take my pinky, I'm going to place it up underneath. To get the undercut now, all I'm going to do is, and I'll probably show you on this side camera here, is I'm taking my thumb and I'm pushing up on that card so I can grasp the deck between my thumb and middle finger. When you put a little pressure in there, that's going to pull just those cards out so you can throw it right on top. And you do that so smoothly that people don't even see you doing the actual injog and undercut to that thing. And that's why I do a slappy on top, so I can just pick it up and throw it on top and square it and make it all so natural that people don't even see it happening. So one more time, we're going to take a stack of cards, injog the first one, shuffle off the rest, push up with my pinky, push up with my thumb, grasp between the middle finger and the thumb, throw it on top. Come in, square the deck, and you're ready to go for whatever is coming up next. Big thing here is that, try not to keep looking at the deck when you're doing this. Again, try to watch the audience as much as possible, and you're going to go by feel here now, okay? So as you get more practice, you can feel that break in the cards there, and all you do is just shuffle it and throw it on top. So you're going to, injog, go through, shuffle, come in, everything's by feel, and throw the cards on top, come back and square the cards up. So, a beginner's question might be, how far do I have to injog that card? And you know, when you first start, you're gonna probably go 1/2 inch to 1 inch until you get it down comfortably. But the more that you do this, the smaller that break's going to be. But the break technically only has to be as big as you need it to be, so you can feel that with your pinky finger. And you can also cover it up on top here by making those cards messy, so that way you can come through. And the smaller that the break or the in-jog becomes, the more you depend on keeping that position with your pinky there, and the more you depend on squeezing between your thumb and your middle finger here when you pull those cards off. Because when you do that, you saw just what happened here is I just bumped the cards with my thumb, and the other ones went flying, while the ones that I had under control here did not even move an inch or move anything. You know, what's the easiest way to feel or glimpse that in-jog without looking suspicious? Again, the biggest thing is just, you know, getting it down so smooth, it's rhythmic. You do it, you're looking at the audience, and, you know, they don't think twice about it. You know, I just did that slow, and, you know, to me that just looked like it would have looked like an overhand shuffle to me if I was watching it. But, you know, here I'm doing slow, I'm talking to you guys, and, you know, it doesn't look any different than what it would be as doing a regular overhand shuffle and just doing like a full cut of the deck here. And we're just controlling that card repeatedly back to the top of the deck here. And, you know, as you get going, you're going to go a little bit faster, you know, with the deck. And as I do that, I screw up, I mess up here. You know, a little bit faster, but, you know, as you get through it, and it's going to be smooth and rhythmic, and, you know, making sure that you get it done correctly. So, common mistakes that beginners might make is maybe their in-jog is too shallow. So they in-jog it, and it's too shallow. They end up losing it. The audience is not going to see that in-jog if you're doing it smoothly and rhythmically, and you don't have any causes for delays or anything in there. And right now look at the deck, you can't really notice that an in-jog is going on because I have the deck all the way around. I'm doing all this type of stuff, and I still am keeping that pinky break there. So we can bring the card back to the top using our thing. You know, so making sure that it's not too shallow, that's a common mistake. Hesitating during that undercut, you know, coming through and you're like fumbling around or hesitating, you know, to get back, and you just see, oh my God, okay, hesitating, so that's another mistake. So make sure it's nice and smooth and rhythmic. And fumbling with the grip changes or the speed, that's another common thing that's a problem for some people. Make sure that you keep that rhythm going, that you keep that speed down. And again, it doesn't have to be super fast. It could be slow. It could be, you know, throwing it on top. But you can, you know, get used to doing this in-jog or this jog. And all I did is I threw a bunch of cards down that time, and I made them all jumbled up. Now it looks like it's really out of control, you know, if you do it that way. But I'm still keeping my pinky underneath that deck there. Or you could do what most people do with control, is running one card and then shuffling the rest off. And you'll see why it's important to learn how to do one card as an in-jog in our next video, because we're going to do a slightly different technique but using the same principles. Okay, a question a beginner might have is, what happens if that undercut does not go smoothly? You know, how do I recover? And, you know, just remember, every time something goes bad, just pause, breathe, you know, square the deck naturally, and maybe start over. You know, start over if you lost that control of that card. You could do a spread call, which is a technique that I'll teach you, you know, in a later video here coming up here, you know, what the spread call is. So let's say I want to do, we'll bring, say, for example, that Queen of Hearts to the top of the deck here. You know, that's all we do is using a spread call to get that. Or let's go to the Queen of Diamonds here. And this is kind of what that would look like, you know, with that, whoops, sure, let's do this again. You know, let's say we want to bring that Queen of Diamonds to the top. These cards are too slippery for me. So we're bringing the Queen of Diamonds to the top of the deck here. You know, as we go through, and you saw that as we were doing that, but we're just going to go through Queen of Diamonds to the top of the deck. You know, so anyhow, it's something that will be coming up in the future here. Again, I'm obviously working at that's one of the harder techniques for me to learn how to do right now. You know, practicing tips when you're learning the Injog, do it face up. You know, turn that top card up so that we can see it, you know, come back to the top of the deck to make sure that you did it right. And this is a technique, I think, because we've learned the basics already, you should be able to learn this pretty fast. It shouldn't take very much to learn how to do it smoothly in that. So another question you might have is, can I use this control to control a spectator's card without them noticing it? And obviously, it's most definitely yes. Well, you can do that with smooth hands. Confidence becomes invisible. And you're going to use it basically to control cards to the top or the bottom. You're going to use it to maintain order or in false shuffles. You're going to use this to perform forces with precision. You know, a whole variety of different things. And the last question we're going to go through here is, how does this fit into a full routine or a trick? And you're going to combine this with forces or reveals, or once you got a solid structured routine, that's going to be part of the techniques that we're using to complete that routine. But remember that this is a foundational sleight of hand that you can use in real magic performances. But here's an updated shuffle, overhand shuffle series practice routine, if you will. So we're going to do 5 overhand shuffles here. Then we're going to do 5 running the cards on top. And complete with the overhand. Then we'll do an overhand shuffle, run some center cards. You know, get that down. Do 1 full deal where we're doing stud method or cards face up method. And then we'll do 5 where we run the top card to the bottom and then bring that card back to the top. And that's option number 1. And we'll do option 2 where we bring it back to the bottom again, and then use option number 2 to bring it back to the top. And then what we'll do is we're going to do 5 of them where we control that bottom card, so the bottom card stays in place. And these are all overhand shuffle based situations. And then we're going to do 5 where we run and control the top card and the bottom 2 cards. Okay, so 5 sets of those. And then we're going to do 5 sets of the overhand shuffle with the Injog and the undercut, and throw the cards on top. So we'll get 10 of those. And again, we're going to be shooting for 1 to 3 training sessions per day. And, you know, try to make that so you're working on rhythm, consistency, doing it by feel without looking at the cards, you know, that type of stuff. And then in our next video, we're going to be showing you a different drill that you can do. So we're going to do the overhand shuffle with an Injog, but I'll show you a different way to, instead of undercut the cards, we're going to do a different type of cut. And I'll actually tie that into a drill so you can practice that and have it become routine for you. But anyhow, I'd love to hear I'd love to hear some comments for you guys in the comments below here. You know, does that Injog feel smooth for you? Does that cut look natural for you? Are you having any problems? You know, that type of stuff. Also, make sure you click that playlist there. That'll bring it back to the beginning of my card magic journey. But until the next time, hey, my name is Joe. This is my card magic journey. Let's make it yours too.